Why are you laughing? Now you're gonna make me laugh. Oh my God, is the camera rolling?
It's rolling.
Welcome to Skinterviews. We are in season 2. I'm one of your 2 hosts. My name is George Scandalis. I hope you would know that by now. And this guy over here
is Nathan Straub.
Nathan Straub. Hi, Nathan.
Hello.
What's going on?
Well, we've gone into another lockdown, haven't we? Well, you have.
We've gone to another lockdown. I've had quite the day. I don't know what's going on astrologically, but let me tell you, it's like retrograde on everything. everything. Anyhow, but before I bitch a little too much, we should be thankful for things like Fullscript, who have sponsored all of season 2. And for those of you that don't know, bitch means you haven't been watching enough of our episodes. Fullscript is the ultimate platform for those who want to do wellness the right way, the personal way. It's got the industry's most comprehensive catalog of over 300 plus professional products and quality products, bringing safe supplements, making safe supplements, I should say, more accessible and affordable, and making personalized treatment plans available from the doctor to the patient. And for the doctors that are not on this, that is a big no-no. Very naughty. You have to look into it, fullscript.com. You can also find a direct link which references from Skinterviews on therevenuedoctors.com if you go to season 2 of Skinterviews. And for those smarty cookie pants doctors that are already on Fullscript, because you're already there, that means you're my favorite, okay? You can now order your products wholesale directly from Fullscript and sell them right at your location.
Do you know what, George? We're pretty much giving doctors another revenue stream.
Well, I'd like to think about it as being more than money, Nathan. I mean, I know you're the numbers guy, but I'm the ethical, angelic voice of the two of us. And on a serious note, though, I think you need to have medical responsibility when people are taking supplementation that can actually affect them medically on a health level. Like, whether it can make things better or worse, I would want that coming from my doctor. I like when I go to get my injections done, and I've recently had a full face of Botox done. So maybe by the next few episodes, I won't have any expression. But I like when they say to me, if I'm going to get any filler done or any Botox done, they're like, you know what, go take some Arnica. But I would love to know what brand my doctor recommends of Arnica to take, or if I'm going to have any surgery that they would want me to take, Arnica pills for healing and inflammation and bruising, whatever that might be. I would love that coming directly from my doctor than me walking down my local drug mart and having to make that decision by myself, and maybe not picking either the most effective brand or the best choice, or what if there's any counteraction with anything else I might be taking. We need to take more responsibility in our hands. Anyhow, now that we're talking about astrology and what's going on in the universe and the skies, our next guest is quite the person. And she won't be able to answer me those questions today, but I intend on asking her to ask her husband to tell me what's going on astrologically. Because before I introduce her, because she's pretty badass, our girl. She's recently moved to Tucson because her husband is an astrophysicist who works in planetary defense through a NASA-funded project.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, right? Now wait till I introduce her, because she's out of this world. This is why he chose her. This is why all right, you ready? Look, I gotta hear.
I'm excited, George. Hey, just before you introduce her, can I just say one thing? My mother-in-law rang me today to tell me how much she loves you on the show.
You know what? I love your mother-in-law. That's amazing.
Then I asked, how do you think I am on the show? She's like, you're all right.
Listen, she's your mother-in-law. You're never going to be good enough. You got to accept this right off the bat. Mom-in-law, if you're watching, boom. I feel for you. I love your grandchildren. I'm like obsessed with them. I don't know how he had any part in making any of that perfection. But if we're going to talk about what your mother-in-law said, then I should go to user comments, shouldn't I? Okay.
Sure.
Doctor, I know you're backstage watching. Hold on. I'm going to read this just one sec, because I got to tell you, So we had one comment here, and I wasn't going to read it because of this, but Cassandra really gave you a run for your money with her hair.
She was good.
She was good.
How good was her voice, by the way?
That's the next comment. Wow, that girl can sing. As if it wasn't enough that she's got all those patents for hepatitis. Dr. Monica Lee is amazing. I am a patient of hers, and one of my close friends works for her, and she's absolutely incredible. I'm so happy to have seen her on your show. She's one of the most deserving people to be there. That's lovely. That's really lovely. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes. I'm sorry to interrupt and take you off course there.
I know. You're a horrible human being, and your mother-in-law is watching, so now she's going to be really upset at you. Our guest tonight is a board-certified dermatologist and a double fellowship-trained cosmetic surgeon, as well as a reconstructive MOH's micrograph. I'm hoping that's Mohs, which has to do with skin cancer, of course. She's a surgeon with skin cancer. She is the founder of Avant Dermatology and Aesthetics, and standing out in the dermatology space due to her training in both integrative skincare and cutting-edge procedures. She is also highly regarded, and I love this about her, in the female empowerment space, being a founder, CEO, and multi-business owner. I told you, my girl's a badass. I like her. She attended the University of Texas for her undergraduate and medical degrees, and she then completed her dermatology residency at the University of South Florida, Department of Dermatology and Cutaneous Surgery. During this time, she augmented her surgical education with additional training with plastic surgeons. Upon completion, she was selected for a position at arguably one of the most competitive programs in the country for dual fellowship at the Skin Institute of South Florida and Hollywood Dermatology in the Miami, Florida area. She is a rising leader and has authored numerous publications in top dermatology journals, has written textbook chapters, yeah, she's that smart, and has been invited to present her research internationally. She's also a principal investigator for dermatology clinical trials, and she is considered a media expert by the American Academy of Dermatology and has been selected as a key opinion leader for top skincare and beauty companies. You impressed yet?
That's pretty impressive.
I ain't done. Hold on. She has a large social media presence. She's almost got 100,000 followers on her Instagram. I know, I was just there, where she's known for her innovative skin, beauty, and wellness tips, female empowerment content, and integrative medical expertise. She's considered a celebrity media expert, from being featured in several magazines such as Women's Health and Allure, and to making national television show appearances on shows including The Dr. Oz Show and The Real. Her latest career venture has taken her to a whole other level, as she will be the next guest on Skinterviews by Nathan and Joe. It's written right here. You can't make this stuff up, boo.
Oh my God! How did you?
I'm talking about none other than Dr. And don't start the video till I finish completely, because I know you're going to hit the button right when I say her last name, but that's not how I want to end. Okay, I'm talking none other than Dr. Sheila Farhang, who's affectionately known as Dr. Sheila. Bring her in. Yeah! Hey!
What an intro, man.
Oh my God. Like, wow. Wow.
I know. It was like, oh my God, I've done a lot of work. Like,
does your husband tell you that? You're like, babe, you're out of this world?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's actually from Europe. We can get into him. He's way more exciting than I am, but he's literally from Spain, and we've been at a bus stop 10 years ago, and he's so chill, likes life, really not planned out. And I'm like super type A, let's plan everything to a T. I know what we're doing in 2024, like that type of balance, I guess.
That's amazing. Well, you know what? When we do our couple series, we're gonna have him on the show with you.
Oh, that's so funny, because he's such an introvert. But he recently discovered that mini moon that was like all over the news. So we had like news at our house. He was on New York Times. And it's so funny because I'm the media person and he's so private. And he was like, I don't know what to do. All these people want to interview. Like, can you do it for me? I'm like, I don't know anything about this mini moon you discovered, but that's so funny. I'm always like having
Is
him
this
in
Earth's
camos,
mini
like in
moon?
my Instagram. What?
Is this Earth's mini moon, the newest one they discovered? Like,
Yeah, that was literally him, his eyes, like him. It's so funny.
wow, I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
it was bad enough I was crushing on you, but now
I know.
I'm totally
Sitting
crushing
there.
on your husband. I'm a science geek, so I'm obsessed with space, and I'm also obsessed with skin. So now it's like whenever you guys invite me over to dinner, which I just invited myself, I'm in.
You're invited. You are invited, both of you guys.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, enough about him because this is all about you. And the reality is you are the sun and moon of his life. And we want to get to know all about you. We want to get to know all about the life that led you to becoming the wonderful doctor and person in our industry that you are, that I just read about. And I know you have a lot to say, which is why I would have loved doing this interview today. So first of all, I got to tell you, that picture of your profile picture with that little devilish smile, that's bomb ass. That is, yes, that is really
I
good.
definitely don't look like that today because I'm still in my scrubs.
Oh, I
really
love
kind
it.
of gross, but I definitely wanted to make this. You guys are awesome. So just went straight to work to my little in-house studio, I guess.
Well,
Awesome.
if this is a bad day, I will one day ring you up on what I look like outside of all these lights and all the like plastered on makeup. And we'll tell you what a bad day looks like.
Production. You guys have a good production going.
All right, let's go back to day one. Ready? So,
Yeah.
first day, you enter this world, you take your breath. Was it always Sheila Farhang, or was there another name? And does your name have any meaning to it?
This is actually a really interesting question. And I bet you are not even expecting this. So my last name, obviously, it was my dad's name growing up. And then when I got married, I changed my last name to my mother's maiden name. So
Oh,
her name, not my husband's name, my mother's last name, because she like raised me and I wanted to like have that respect for her. And and then my husband's like super, millennial, and he's very like forward thinking, and he's like, why do you have my last name? Like, you don't need to have my last name because we're just married. Plus he's Polish and his last name is Bierschkosz, which is like a Wi-Fi password, so I don't even know how to say it. But other than that, so when I got married, I took her last name, which was super special because she, single parent home, she raised me, and so there we have it. That's why Farhang came to be.
I love that. And was it Ozzy Sheila? Was her middle name?
Yeah, my middle name's Zara, actually.
Zara.
Like the store. Yeah.
Were you named after anyone specific, or is there any meaning to
My
it?
grandma. Yeah. So I'm of Persian descent. And so she was Zara, which is Zara. And it's such a pretty name. I kind of want to name my offspring if I ever do have one. Zara is a really, really dope name. Love that name.
It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful name. Your mom must have been so happy when she saw that.
Oh my gosh. When I told her, it was like, that was the reason why I did it. Yeah. So
Really
love that woman.
Where were you born?
Dallas, Texas. So I don't have a Texas accent or anything. I used to say y'all, but I dropped that because it's just been so long. But yeah, I'm born in Dallas, from Houston. And then I went to UT Austin, which was so fun. Austin is amazing. And then I spent some time in Chicago for my intern year, a little bit in Tampa and Miami, and now Tucson, which my husband inspired the move. He moved here from Europe. So I was like, okay, I chose the country. You can choose the city. And the city is really actually so underrated. It is so cool. It's like a mini Austin or like a Portland or Asheville. It's really kind of granola, but it has its like nice parts. It doesn't have a lot of shopping, which I don't really do shopping. I do it online. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And do you have any siblings?
I do. So I'm the oldest of four.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm actually in my mid-30s, and then I have a brother. No, next is my sister. She's an optometrist in LA, living that LA life, which they're on lockdown now, I think. At least they can't do starting today, I think it was. No, starting tomorrow, they don't even have indoor dining or outdoor dining. So they're getting pretty strict. And then I have a brother who works at Amazon headquarters, so pretty cool job. And then I have a baby sister who just started college at UT Austin, which is pretty awesome too.
That's amazing. And your mom,
Yeah,
parent, raised 4 children.
yeah. I
Wow.
was like kind of the mom at some point, but yeah,
That's
it was.
amazing.
I know. Looking back, it was like, oh my gosh, how does she do that? So I feel like the older you get, the more respect you have for your parents.
I think the older we get, we realize our parents are human, and
Yeah,
it's such a wake up call,
exactly.
right? So,
Yeah.
4 kids, single mom, already difficult situation. Who was mom's favorite growing up?
Oh, for sure. It was me. Even though I'm like, and it's so funny because the oldest I feel like is always like the one doing the most, and then our the middle one is always like the middle, the epitome, and then the third was the only boy, and then the the baby who's she's like 18 is like the artist, like free spirit. We really don't know what she's gonna do in life, but that's amazing because she's gonna do amazing things. But it's so funny because like at the fourth one, my mom is kind of just like, okay, we have a few doctors in the fam, we're good. Even though I didn't get pressured into it, they're kind of just like, all right, you're good, you can do whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she's gonna do amazing things. She loves like nonprofit and she's like an environmentalist. So she's gonna be great in the world.
Cool.
Not everyone has to be a doctor.
No, definitely not. But I mean, I'm happy you became one.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I don't see myself doing I mean, I do a lot of other things, but I also like taking care of patients. That's like a huge one for me. So,
You can take care of me.
yeah, exactly. I have to like switch my brain so many times in a day, like from like admin mode, owning my own practice to like my startup world to media interviews in between to doing cosmetics to doing skin cancer to and it's like I don't know, it keeps me active. I like it. It keeps my mind going.
So having a busy household with your mom and the 4 of you, what was
Mhm.
something that you remember growing up as kids that you used to do that would bring the family together?
Let's see. I mean, we always were just so close. I'm trying to think. Um, I mean, we were always like so close knit that even like holidays, we were always together. And it's just like the little things. It wasn't even like the big, trips or anything like that. It's just like literally chilling. And we all still pretty much FaceTime almost every day.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
That is
Love
awesome.
them.
And so birthdays, were there any special birthdays that you remember from growing up?
Oh god, I was gonna say like my 21st was oh
Tell us about your 21st. I'd love to hear about
oh no.
We
It
said
was
ones you
like what you would
remember.
think everyone's 21st would be, in college, renting out a bar, it was like, what the heck? I feel like I have like no energy now. I'm trying to think. One of my recent birthdays, I feel like were pretty cool. I'm not a huge birthday person though, I will say. Um, I'm working with some people in the industry and they're always like, "Oh, we're going to throw you the biggest party." And I'm like, "No, no, no, please, please don't." Cuz I like hate that. I don't know. I'm always a person that's like doesn't say it's my birthday. This year was like pretty sweet. I had like a few family members and my staff like got me cake. But I'm not a huge like birthday bash person. Maybe one year. Maybe if I turned like when I turned 41 in a few years or something like that.
it.
In 7 years. It's a lot. I'm, like, already thinking about my 40s. Uh,
And your mum, what was like you've mentioned you're very close with your mum, but growing up, what do you think was the most important lesson your mum taught you?
honestly, it's, like, her trust in all of us. She wasn't, like, overbearing. Like, I feel like if I am gonna be a parent, like, I know so much that I will be so strict, but she kept it so cool and almost brought in that that relationship and that trust that you didn't want to be a bad kid. You know, you didn't want to go out and sneak out or break curfew or do all this stuff or like fail your homework. It was just like you just wanted to make her proud because you saw how much she put into you and your success and keeping the family together and making sure we're okay. And so and she still does that like today, which is so nice. Now she's seeing kind of the flowers of like all of her like hard work now that we're all like grown-ups in a way, and she doesn't really have to worry about where we're gonna end up.
Um, tell me about your very first best friend growing up. Are you still friends today?
Honestly, I'm trying to think. Honestly, my sister is one of my best friends. And so it's nice having my husband doesn't have any siblings. And so he doesn't know that. Like, do you guys have siblings? You just like have an ultimate best friend like all the time.
Yeah.
I have
And so yeah. So me and my sister are pretty close. And so I just consider her, I mean, she was like my maid of honor. She's always there. We're always the first to call each other. Good news, bad news, whatever. We can get in a super crazy fight. We're fine the next day. And we're also super opposite. Like, again, I'm like type A and she's super chill and laid back, which I feel like the yin and the yang that always works out.
Thinking back to high school, did you go to prom?
Yeah, I went to prom like a couple times.
tell me about your prom dress. I want to know what it looked like.
Oh, okay. So my mom made my prom dress. She's a seamstress. And so I got like a few magazines and it was this really almost like now that I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, that was like so couture and so nice. I wish I kept it. But it was like a very simple, like satin blue, royal blue dress that had like an open back and she made it, it was so pretty. And so I think I went to prom sophomore, junior, senior year. I went a few times. I don't know. Just got asked a few times.
So would you say, looking back now at your high school life, were you in the popular crowd or were you
Yeah,
a
that's
geek
so
that
funny.
had glow up?
I was kind of everywhere because I was in the AP courses with, more of the academic people.
Yeah.
But I was also with the cool crowd, but I wasn't like the core. I wasn't like the person in the cool crowd because they party too much so it was like I would say I went to all the cool parties, which is nice, and I sat with the cool kids. But I also had, more academic friends, which you can be cool and academic, but I feel like I was like in different groups, if that makes sense.
Well balanced.
Well balanced, exactly.
If I were to ask you, because we ask all our guests this, but if I were to ask you to tell me an embarrassing story that, and this is hard for a lot of type A people to answer, but they've got a ton of always. But if I were to ask you for a really embarrassing story that maybe no one's ever heard about you, that would really show me who you're like when we don't see you as Dr. Sheila.
Oh my God, this is such a good question for my husband because literally almost every day he's always like, I wish I could just have like a secret camera and show your followers like how much of a hot mess you are sometimes because I look like I have like my shit together all of the time. I'm this, which, we're all human, and I think that's why social media wise, I do really well because we are human, like humanizing doctors, like we're all human. You can drop an F-bomb if you want, or you can be upset about things. You can be annoyed about things. You can like things that are maybe a little bit more materialistic. You can, have the same style or food. So I showcase a lot of that, like every day in my life type of stuff on my Instagram. And that's why I think it's done really well. I actually don't even talk about skincare as much as you would think I would, it being my job and profession. I will like in my stories here and there, but so anyway, back to your question. I am it's so normal. I feel like, sometimes you're just put on this pedestal of like being a doctor and then a surgeon, and then me being a reconstructive Mohs micrographic surgeon. Those are like huge skin cancers that I take out. I read them under the microscope and I do huge reconstructions, like forehead to nose, like
Oh,
moving the whole cheek, like neck to face, and I'm this like petite girl. And so, but I do like damn good work. And so, it's just interesting because, getting trained in this man's world, you kind of have to put up a front sometimes. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. And so my patients love me. They, get along with me. They like how human I am. I'm not going to be an a-hole or anything like that, or be super stoic, because there's like really no need to be. Which is why I love derm, because it's my patients are all awake.
right.
But anyway, I'm gonna keep saying like changing the subject because I don't want to answer your question.
I
All
love
right.
it. I go round and
We
round.
will let you pass. We will let you pass. We'll let you pass. But I guess the closest we're going to find out something embarrassing is if you ever post it. And for our viewers that are watching, you better definitely head over to Dr. Sheila's Instagram, which is at dr.sheila_derm. And while we're at it, we should mention that you can also follow her on Facebook at Sheila Derm MD. And of course, there's YouTube, Dr. Sheila Derm. And as you see on the screen there, go follow her business website. You can go right in there, see all the different things that we offer at avantdermatology.com. And if you're in the Tucson area, I mean, if
For
you're not
sure. Oh, if you're in the
her,
Tucson area, I have a virtual grand opening coming up December 4th, 5 to 7. Lots of giveaways.
that's not fair.
Huh? I know. You
The
can tune
US
in. I'll
the
give you a
US
special
Canada
invite.
border is closed. I can't head down. I mean,
Uh,
is this essential, Nathan?
It is essential, yeah.
Can we get a doctor's note?
oh, right. I know. I know. I can't wait until we can all travel again.
Well, December 4th, what time?
5 to 7 p.m. MST, and it's virtual. So I was going to do it in person, but it's not the right thing to do right now. Don't want a super spreader event. Don't want to put people in danger. So it's going to be virtual. It's going to be on Zoom. RSVP info@avantdermatology.com, and I'll send you the info, and you can get in the raffles and VIP packages. We'll fly you down, all that fun stuff.
Who's hosting it?
So it's me technically, and then my tech guy who does Zoom events.
Do you
So
need
it's like
some
a whole
co-hosts?
production. Yeah. And then I'm trying to figure out, and then my videographer is going to figure out, I don't know if I should do a live stream of the virtual office tour or do a pre-production and get it in. So I have a lot of work to do in the next week and a half.
Both. You should do both. We want to
I
see
know,
it
right?
live. We want to see it post-production as well.
Right. I agree.
I'm all about both. Now, quickly going back here, then we'll skip the embarrassing story. I will get you though. Eventually, I will get you.
Okay, one day.
But you are a highly educated woman. You are a strong academic, and I want to know if throughout your educational career, if there was a teacher that really stood out to you for just how positive they were as a teacher, or even someone that stood out to you for being as negative as they were as a teacher, and if there's anything that was really learned from that relationship.
Yeah. Trying to think. Med school, I feel like a lot of my growth came from college when you're kind of taking all these other classes. And I was actually a psychology liberal arts honors.
Wow.
So I did a whole bunch of like liberal arts type of classes and routes. And I was a psychology because I thought I wanted to do psychiatry when I grew up and med school. And so, but I realized I like procedures, and although derm has a lot of psych components in it, but I would say one of my really cool classes, there was like an ethics class with this really awesome professor, and it was very small because UT Austin is a huge university, and so classes have like hundreds and hundreds of people in there. And so this was like my first super small class. It was like, I don't know, 10 people, and it was all discussion based. And it was like the first time where I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need to study anything. You just literally you go and you talk about ethics and controversies and just like super controversial stuff in an open, safe zone in a way. The professor was an attorney, and so it was kind of like a cool ethics attorney. So it was like a really cool take on it. We're all different majors, so that was awesome. And I don't want to. I want to say I haven't really had any bad professors, other than there are some where you can kind of tell they don't want to be there, and that is kind of it is what it is.
Cool. So this is the part where we talk a little bit about your husband, but before I do, I want to know, like, he's Polish born.
Yeah, so he was born in Poland, moved to Spain, I think when he was like 2, because his dad's a scientist. And so he's mostly, I feel like he reads books in Spanish. Well, now like English, but if he's gonna read for like leisure, like if he's gonna watch a movie, I think he resonates more with like Spanish culture. And he still likes taking siestas. But yeah, so he grew up in Spain, and so he was, going to college like a college kid does. And I graduated college early, and I was like, I want to do something crazy before med school, because I already got accepted into med school. So I was like, instead of doing study abroad, I really just want to like move to Spain like on my own. So then I had to figure out like how to do it. So, and this still actually exists. Well, not right now, but because of the pandemic. But I went through a program, totally legitimate, called InterExchange. And they basically have you live in a host family, like their home in Spain, like pretty wealthy families, and you're their kids' like English teacher. Because I really didn't know Spanish. I didn't have an English degree, or I didn't have like an English teacher license. So basically, you just go live with a family. They pay for your room, board, and then you're only obligated to teach their kids 15 hours a week, which is like 3 hours a day, not a big deal. And then the rest of the time, you're like on your own to travel, to like figure out yourself in the city. So that was probably one of the most badass things I've ever done, especially before med school, because if you don't take any breaks, like you don't know really who you are, because all you know is studying.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm like really huge on. Like people are like, is it too late for me to apply to medical school? Like if I don't get in the first few times, or if I had another job, and I'm like, no, that is actually better. And a lot of the med schools now like more mature people, because med school is hard. Med school, I mean, there were many people who were suicidal because you're not developed. A lot of these people go straight through, which I did, but I tried to take some time to do other things. But anyway, so I was like, I want to go do something different and figure it out and travel. So I did that for a semester. And the last week I was there, I met my husband at a bus stop at 3 a.m. And that was pretty much it. The rest is history. So it was literally the last week I was there. And we hung out the next day. He said he loved me. Second day we met. But he didn't think he would see me again. He was just like, had to say it in Spanish. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to go start med school. See ya, So like, peace out. But I did visit him a couple months later, and then Skype is what we did, and Gmail emails. Like there was no chat, there was no FaceTime. We literally have our emails. And fun fact, emails, you can do up to 90. Oh, this was like 10 years ago. You can do up to 99 emails back and forth. And then you have to start a new chain. So that was because we didn't have chat. So we just like emailed each other back and forth. Yeah, it was insane. I don't even think there was WhatsApp. No, literally we had to pay money to get on Skype calls with each other. Anyway, feel like I'm so old now, but this was 10 years ago.
So you met
anyway,
in 2009 then, I'm guessing?
Yeah, that's when we met. Yeah, 2009, 2010, something like that. Yeah, 2010, I think it was. And anyway, so I did that. We met the last week I was there. We did back and forth. We were long distance for 5 years. He moved here 5 years ago to the States, finished up his PhD in astrophysics, and then here we are. We got married last year, though. It takes the European guys a little bit of time to lock it down, I guess. But we were busy. We were like, oh, okay, fine, let's get married. After 10 years, you're like, all right, now it's just like pressure from family to legalize it. So, but it was so special. It was in Greece. You guys can see the photos and in my Instagram, but it was like 40 people there. It was super special. We had, people fly in from Spain and Poland and the US, and it was great. And I did it all without visiting there, which is so cool. Instagram now, it's so easy to plan things.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I like this. All right, let's see what's tagged. All right, I like this wedding planner. All right, let's see. And it's like so easy.
That's such a great story. And it's so close to home because my wife is Polish.
Oh my gosh.
And we met in Rio. We're both backpacking around the world. And we only had 5 days together before she was heading off and I was going somewhere else. And we did long distance.
Gosh.
Not as long as you, though. We did it for 2 years, long distance.
That's so long.
Yeah, and it was exactly the same time, 2009, 2010. So we were doing the Skype calls, the emails.
Can you imagine?
I know. But you know what?
Insane.
It came in handy for us because all those emails we used to get my permanent residency in Canada when I moved over here because it was proof.
Yes.
We had to show proof.
That too.
We
did that too. Facebook was great too because you could see the tags from 10 years ago and every wedding or friend's dinner they were at. That thing was so nerve-wracking.
Okay, so one question for both of you. You met your wife for 5 days before you were separated, and you were basically 48 hours max, from what I understand, with your husband.
Like a week.
A week.
Yeah, about 5 days.
Did you know right there and then, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with?
I knew that night. It's like so weird because you're in a different country. His English wasn't that great. It was really good though. I knew he was special, but it was so crazy thought that I couldn't be like, okay, this is the guy I'm going to marry. Cause it's like, I was 21 or 22. You're still pretty young, but I knew he was special. I think it was like the second time. Like we spent he knew, obviously he said he loved me the next day. It took me a little bit of time to like come to realization that like, this is the feelings that I have and we have to make it work, which is kind of crazy. What about you?
What about you, Nathan?
I knew because I was a little bit older than you. I was 26, 27 when I met my wife. And when you travel, like I'd been traveling around the world for over like quite a while, and so had my wife. I feel like when you're traveling, knowing someone for 5 days is like knowing them for 5 months because there's no like BS.
Exactly.
You're straight into those tough, hard-hitting questions because you don't have time.
And it's only you two. It's literally only you two.
Yeah, you don't have time to muck around with like if you don't like someone, you just don't hang out with them because you're traveling around the world. You can hang out with whoever you want.
Exactly.
You don't have to be anywhere at any time. You don't owe anyone anything. I was traveling without a cell phone, so like
it was not long ago, eh?
I was pretty confident that she was pretty special, because
I love that, and it's so real and it's so raw, and all the calls, like the long distance calls, like you get to really know the person, which is
because I find in a normal relationship there's that honeymoon period where there's a lot of physical connection. Whereas when you're long distance, it's all emotional connection. So you get to know the person a lot better without that honeymoon period getting in the way. I don't know if you felt the same thing.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So right. Yeah. That is so cool. I love that. It's like such a special little thing.
So do you do like, I suppose you don't do Polish Christmases because of he went to Spain at such a young age.
Yeah, no. So his mom is like still they're Polish. They speak Polish with each other. Okay. And so she has spent some time here because they're super Catholic. And so, New Year's, I feel like is more, we've done like with the beet juice.
Yeah. And you do Jabrówka vodka. We
love that. Yeah. They love that. Yeah. I'm trying to think during Christmas what we do that is.
They call it Vigilia, Christmas Eve, Vigilia?
Oh yeah, super special. Christmas Eve is, we have no plans. We are together. And that's so funny because our cultures are so different, because I come from a Persian descent, which is Islamic. And while I don't practice the Islamic religion or anything, it's like completely different. But it's so cool because our kids will, have so many different cultures to kind of live through and be part of.
That's
Which
awesome.
is the beautiful thing about our world these days, right? It's just so many melting pots, even in a single household, which is great.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So who's the boss in the family? Like who
Oh,
wears the
he
pants?
will tell you I'm the boss. And, and that's great, honestly, because I have dated guys where I, I don't know, you have to have a sort of confidence to deal with the girl who kind of you have to be okay with your partner making more money than you. So he's okay with that. And things kind of change. I work more. Like, he helps out in different ways. We both really suck at cooking, so none of us really does that. But he does a little. We've kind of like share roles. We don't have the very like male female roles that you typically learn, because I'm the kind of the business owner and do things. And even though he has like a badass job, his schedule allows him to be home a little bit more because he does shifts up at the mountain, which he's up there right now. But yeah, but he has so much confidence. But he will put me in my place when I overstep the boundaries, as far as just like, I can see if if I hurt his feelings or something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, I was like a little too mean. Cause you can tell, like, he'd be like, okay, Sheila, okay, Sheila, like, that's enough. And that's like all he needs to say, that I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. So that's like literally him being like, okay, that's enough. But he's so sweet. Oh my God. I'm so lucky to have him.
I love it. I love it. So speaking of that, what's one thing you do often that really annoys him or gets up his nerves?
It's honestly, I just was on the phone with him today. Like, I was a little hangry, but I'm such a micromanager. And so, like, I will task him with things to help me with practice, but it needed to be done like yesterday. So he hates that. Even with the visa, I micromanage, because I was like, we can't get this wrong. We have to do it right. Even with his like application to get his PhD here, I was like, I'm working on your application. Let me write your essay. Let me do it all right. And he's like, no, like, please let me be. It's so funny. Like, I gotta give this guy more credit.
Babe, chill. I just discovered a new moon. Like, I think
I know. He
I
says
know what
that
I'm doing.
sometimes, and I'm like, your job, because he loves his job so much, it's almost like a hobby. Like, even if probably he didn't get paid, he would go up there and do what he's doing. And which I love what I'm doing too, but I'm always like, you're having like way too much fun. Like, your job is like your hobby. And he's like, I mean, I love my job, It's like, it's just really, really funny to see kind of the two dynamics together.
Okay. On the other note, then, what is something that you do that really annoys him?
So let's see. Well, I know the micromanaging.
Sorry, the other way. No, sorry,
situation.
the other way.
Oh, okay.
What does he do that really annoys you? Sorry.
Let's see. He's just really like chill. He doesn't plan his next few hours. Like, he's just a very go with the flow type of guy, which I need that. And that's like a good way to be. And I think that's why we balance each other out as well. But it's kind of funny. But every time because we got like super ripped and like so toned for our wedding, and the past year and a half or 2 years, I guess. Well, especially with the pandemic, I feel like a lot of us are like dropped off. Like, I haven't worked out as much as I was before, but I feel like we both are like, want to have like bad days. We'll be like, do you want to order pizza? It's like, do you want to order pizza? And we'll like blame it on the other person for like being the one ordering pizza. We're like so bad together.
This
But
totally
it's life.
household, completely my household.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what? My husband is only chill when Nathan comes over. Other than that, he's like you. Everything is planned down to the last minute, knows exactly what's happening. We're eating at 7:45. By 8:15, we're watching The Crown, season 3, episode 4.
I need to watch that.
We're doing this. And then Nathan comes over and he's like, hey guys, and just disappears. And I'm like, Nathan, you need to move in. Like, you need to move in forever.
That is so funny. Love that.
Nathan, is it me or is it you?
It's you working out. Let's get into
me. It's me. Well, since we're talking about working out, all right. Tell me the number one song you work out to. Like, what is your like go to? If you were to work out tomorrow morning, what song are you going to put on that really just gets you up?
So I go through, like, Spotify's been my life, but I go through like EDM, house, DJ music, or like intense rap.
Okay.
Like those are like my two genres. If I were to like choose a song, I'm trying to even think like what is like my number one on here. I even like go through music that's not on the radio because I get so tired of it.
So
But
what's
I love like hip hop, but it has to be like good beats for sure. Because I usually run and I do a few weights. But I'm also, fun fact, and I don't think I put this in my bio or anything, but I am actually, let's see, when was it? 4 years ago. Wait, 4 or 5 years ago, I moved to Bali for some time and got my yoga instructor training like certification. So like I'm a yoga instructor. And so we lived in right outside Bali. I was like vegetarian. We grew our own vegetables. We lived in this like bungalow. Did yoga pretty much all day, meditated all day. It was so cool. And so I have a whole bunch of like kirtans and like really chill yoga music too, to kind of chill me out. So my goal, so I open up, my practice about dermatology and aesthetics where I do general derm, I do skin cancer surgery and cosmetic surgery, but I want to expand it in a way because I do integrative derm and I'm a yoga instructor to a wellness center. So that's like my couple year plan, but that's like a really cool kind of like little part of me. And that's why Tucson I really resonated with because it's people are really into like natural things and it's cool to sponsor the video. So supplements are huge actually. And I'm like, for instance, I recommend zinc for acne, but there's a certain amount you need to take and you can't overdo it, or everyone's taking vitamin D and calcium. You can overdo that too and get stones, even though it's somewhat controversial. So yeah, supplements are everything, especially for hair loss. I love them.
We
People
got to
are
get on full
super
script.
low.
We're going to get you on.
I know, right? I know.
Favorite TV series? Are you a TV girl?
No, but I will binge watch. And I'm like 20 years late, but I recently watched Breaking Bad, and that was, love that show. Like, doesn't get better than that. I love like drug shows, and I still need to watch like the cartel shows. Oh, you know what I watched a couple months ago? Oh, what was it? Money Heist. That was so good.
Oh, so
So
good.
I'll get into like, I won't watch a series, but I'll like binge watch. I feel like that's what a lot of people do now. Just like,
Okay, now you got to watch Vis-a-Vis, which is like it's Spanish as well, and it's Lockdown is the English title.
Okay.
But after you've watched Money Heist, it's the next one you watch. It's like
what's it called?
Vis-a-Vis or like
Okay. I love.
Lockdown.
Okay, I'm gonna start. That's gonna be my like Thanksgiving holiday. Chill, do nothing, and just watch. But I need to also plan my grand opening.
Okay, well then don't do it yet because you're gonna get so hooked. It's like
that's how I was with Money Heist. I was like not productive at all. Yeah. I was like, I just need to like finish this so I can like move on with my life. Like the worst.
So if I were to make a movie about your life, which actress would you choose to play you?
Oh man. Honestly, biggest girl crush on Angelina Jolie. Like everything about her, and I love. So whatever she plays, like, hey, I'll take it. Like, I love it. As far as like an actual character, geez, Wears Prada came to my head for like a second there, but I'm not that type of boss. I'm not that type of boss. You can ask my staff, promise. They love me. That is funny though. But I feel like women, like female bosses, you're either like you're bossy or you're like a biatch, you know? It's like that very fine line of being bossy, or if you go like one step above, you know, you're bossy and you're the B word. And so that's like a very interesting thing that I have to kind of deal with because I'm making all these calls and I'm on calls with CEOs and industry leaders and, you know, the man's world. Although it's becoming more of a woman's world nowadays.
It sucks that a woman has to be called a bitch if she's bossy because she gets the job done. So you know,
100%.
Just be like, babe, I'm a bitch with a crown.
Exactly. My staff the other day, she was so sweet because I write really, you know, to the point emails, no BS, like da 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 da, like get this done, da da da. I'm just not like, hey, how are you? Per my last email, like none of that. Just get straight to it. Hey, I need an update. You know, like I hate it when people are like, just following up. It's like, okay, what are you following up on? When do you need that follow up by? You know, and so my staff the other day was like, you've taught me how to write really affirmative emails. And I was like, thank you. I'm so happy.
Oh, wow.
My emails. Ugh.
Yeah, so while we're there, we should talk a little bit about business because we've got you on the show, and it'd be sad not to. This is one of my favorite questions of the show because we get so many amazing answers. Every answer is very different, but also very same in the same way. But why is our industry so great?
And what type of industry?
Why is the cosmetic dermatology industry so great?
So I didn't even think I was going to become like a dermatologist. Like I said, I wanted to do psych. And what really kind of brought me into derm was the fact that it is so, one, visual, two, you can get like, you know, some instant gratification. And what's great now is that it's so much less of a stigma now because of social media. And so you can see who your injector is, their personality, their technique. And one of my favorite procedures doing with filler actually is the non-surgical rhinoplasty, which you have to see someone who's a surgeon who does it because, oh, my husband's calling me. He's probably like, what do you do? I didn't tell him I had this call. And the last time I called him, I was like super hangry. So he's probably like, what are you doing? So anyway, when I do the filler, it's like, it's one step before them. They haven't taken the plunge to do a surgical rhinoplasty, which is a big deal. It's a big surgery. You're put out. But people who don't like their nose usually have that. They're self-conscious about it since they're a young age. And they're scared to do something, or in a lot of cases, they're younger. They don't have the money or the downtime, or they just don't want to look different. They just want like the bump covered up. So, because I know the anatomy so well, I know the safe way to inject it because it is a very risky area to inject the nose because you have a vessel going into your eye. You could get blind. And I still like hold my butt cheeks together when I do it because it's so scary to still inject this area. But I know my stuff. And if I'm on the right planes, everything, the risk is super, super low. So you just kind of have to trust yourself too. Even though the risk is there, and the patient knows the risk is there. Anyway, so I love doing non-surgical rhinoplasties because just the look on the patient's face when they see their new nose done in 5 minutes after just, you know, less under $3,000 is like, I love. So it's like moments like those, or, you know, injecting a newly divorced woman who feels so good about herself. And this is filler. This is laser technology. I pretty much have it all. Or, you know, hair regrowth, or even acne scarring. Like, it's just so amazing to help a lot of these, you know, people who have these they're self-conscious about a lot of these things that can be easily treated in office without major surgery. Minimally invasive, non-invasive, and you see it. It's a very like art form, which I love, love, love. And it's so innovative, which I love. We are always changing things around, new techniques. I mean, skincare is always evolving, getting so much better. I'm part of a startup in Europe actually, and we're starting up almost like a plant-based SPF sunscreen,
Right.
which will hopefully be the new big thing. But it's like been 10 years in the process because like making a sunscreen is not an easy task. So yeah, so that's like what I love about derm and cosmetics and just skincare in general. Like I wouldn't change it for the world.
Cool. And you mentioned social media, and I want to bring this up because George and I work with a lot of clients, and we talk about the importance of social media and the importance of letting people get to know you on your social media when you're a physician in this industry.
Yeah.
Tell us, I want to hear your views on this and what you think, where you think social media is going to take our industry in the next few years.
Yeah, so it's been a kind of a really interesting thing. And I again like it's so great because you social media is so visual and aesthetics is so visual. And so you can the before and afters are amazing. And a lot of people don't know that you always thought about plastic surgery cosmetics in the 80s where you get duck lips or you're like windblown, and that's not the case anymore. Um Doctors are becoming almost like celebrities in a way, which is great. And it's kind of interesting to see because, it's very like generational too, because I am, a millennial. And so I started my Instagram like 6 years ago. Some of the more mature doctors are like trying to do it. Some of them are like killing it doing it. You've had them on your shows. They are like amazing. And then you have kind of these younger docs who are really good at it, like TikTok and all this stuff. And so it's like really interesting to see like docs, like and all of them, the whole dancing doctors. I don't know. Some people do it so well. I don't know if I will ever be a dancing doctor, but you know, um, and it's just good. It's disseminating the right information out there because that's like a double-edged sword. You got people on YouTube who know nothing about skincare teaching people how to do skincare, treat their acne when they're not even experts in it and they could be giving bad advice. But they have these mass followings, and so I don't know how, because it's freedom of speech. I don't know how it's going to be censored out, but there should be some type of censorship for
Right.
for those types of things that could cause damage. But I think that instead of shutting down wrong knowledge, it's better to heighten and bring up knowledge from the right area. So then that kind of overpowers and becomes like the first thing on your feet, for instance, and the other stuff kind of dies down. So that's what I am hoping to do. And that's what I do is like, I love debunking myths, all these like skincare myths, like what to put on your face, what not to put on your face. And the more we have doctors doing that, the more right information will be put out there into the world. So I'm all for it.
Brilliant. I love that you brought up non-surgical nose jobs or rhinoplasty, if you'd like to
Yeah.
that, because I don't think people realize the risks involved. And quote me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've gone 3 times to get mine injected, and I say it
Okay.
when I was a kid, I'm convinced I broke mine. I think I have a deviated septum, and it points one way. The screen's mirrored right now, so I can't tell which way. I think it's going that way,
Yeah.
and I have a little bit of a divot there. You see that? I don't know if
Oh,
you can see it right there.
no, barely.
You have
Not
to see it
even.
really close. How close do I got to get? So, so I've gone actually, I've sat 3 times, I've had my nose numbed, and then they give me the statistic. And I want people to know there is a 1%. Am I not wrong? Am I wrong?
Nowadays, I mean, the thing is also we don't know
It's
because
lower
not
now.
everyone
There's so many.
reports it. Not everyone reports it.
Right.
Or if it's a vascular occlusion and your skin gets like dead in that area because it loses vascular supply, you're not necessarily getting blind, but I think it's way underreported than it is. Where I did fellowship in Miami, we saw some crazy stuff from South America, and I saw like cement in the butt. Like I've seen some things. I saw a whole cheek get, had a vascular occlusion. It was like falling off. Guarantee it wasn't reported. It's insane.
And I'm glad you're talking about it, because I want people to hear this kind of stuff. And the reason we pick the people we pick on Skinterviews, so that people know, is because of how well educated they are and how much attention they pay to the details. And it doesn't mean, and I want to hear this from a doctor, it doesn't mean that something bad's not going to happen, because sometimes
100%.
it is physically out of your control.
Yeah.
But it's good to walk in armed with all the
Yeah.
knowledge.
And it's also doesn't mean that a nurse injector that's been injecting for years and years, seen so many patients, is bad either.
No.
Because I don't want to sound like an elitist either, but for things like that, you do want someone who knows the anatomy so cold, who knows exactly where to inject, because the risks will be lower. Like you said, it's never 0%. Risk is always there, but I'd rather have a low risk than a risk,
Knows how to react. I think that's important. Knows how to react quickly.
The signs and 100%.
So you touched on something that I love asking our guests that are in your field, and especially people that work, in clinical trials and assist in publications and peer-reviewed studies. You touched on innovation. So being in your position, I would love for you to tell me what you believe, or if you have some inside knowledge, other than your sunscreen story, which is pretty cool. What would be a big innovation, whether it's in procedures or ingredients or products or surgical techniques, that you believe is going to be really taking the forefront by storm in the next year or couple of years?
Oh, I have so many.
Oh, I was
actually part of Harvard. Yeah, I was like part of Harvard, and faculty and industry leaders have this program called Advanced Innovators in Dermatology. And I did this like 1-year fellowship with them. The guy who basically developed cool sculpting and lasers and insane. His name's Dr. Anderson. He's like a legend. So like I said, and like you were saying, like innovation is so huge. A few things like from my like integrative derm side, I feel like integrative medicine and derm is going to be huge. People want to go more natural, which natural doesn't always mean good, but people do want to go a little bit more natural, a little bit more eco-friendly. And so supplements, or using turmeric or zinc to look at things. Microbiome is so huge right now. So not only the gut, but the microbiome, the bacteria living on our skin, and what is that causing? Is it causing acne? How can we treat that? So that is so huge. And I feel like we're still behind in kind of personalizing and figuring out a person's microbiome to be like, this is what you need exactly. Like this is your personalized formulation, but we'll definitely be there.
I love that.
Being a skin cancer surgeon, so out of Harvard, and Arissa Ortiz, who's amazing. She is in San Diego. They're developing like a non-surgical way of taking out skin cancers, but very focused. So using a laser to basically target the skin cancer cells. So like not radiation, but literally going in and targeting the skin cancer cells instead of cutting. Like I feel like in 10 years, 20 years, like us cutting shit out is going to be so archaic. We're going to be like very pinpointed, very non-invasive. And then as far as cosmetics, the non-invasive stuff, like I am starting lipo in my office with radio frequency. It's amazing what you can do out of the OR as far as these cosmetic procedures and radio frequency. I use the Body Tight, which is basically tightens up the skin after you do lipo, and the Face Tight. Amazing stuff. And so really facelifts are going to be kind of like a thing of the past now, which is really cool because you have all these like tightening devices. So I feel like we're going to go less surgery, more minimally invasive, more personalized care, lots of artificial intelligence. And I'm super excited about it.
That's very exciting. And that's probably the best answer we've had all season on the show. So I knew, sorry to my other doctors, but I knew.
Well, I'm like in this world. Yeah, I'm like part of it.
I knew that I was asking the right person. So
yeah.
And now I know I'm gonna like message him and be like, hey, have you heard about this? Tell me more.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Data coming out of all
stocks. Yeah.
It's wonderful though, isn't it? Because what you're basically telling me is for the patient out there, they're going to be able to get more done with less downtime, basically.
100%. We've been seeing that even in the last few years, and less antibiotics,
Yeah.
less things to mess up your gut. We're kind of almost going back in time with some of the like Ayurvedic, Indian, Chinese medicine, because that's what people want, less plastic, more cardboard, all that stuff.
I'm
Like
gonna
our
look
products.
dirty for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I know. Well, I look like I'm 18 sometimes. My patients are like, "So how old are you?" And I'm like, "Bad question. I've been doing Botox since I was in my 20s." I was like, "I'm actually 80."
Are you old enough to be holding that needle?
Yeah, right. And they're all
I'm
like
just happy
2-year-old
nobody
patients.
debated that I said I'm 30, so keep going.
Love it, love it.
My partner in crime's going through a midlife crisis. So
I
have
am.
to be
It's
very
major.
sensitive
I
with
mean,
it.
Oh my gosh,
actually,
you guys look amazing.
Oh, thank you, jeez.
I hope my
Yeah.
instructor's watching this because I literally was in a conversation yesterday with her, and I was at her office and we brought somebody. She's like, "Oh, I hope more middle-aged men like yourself feel comfortable coming to see me." And I'm like,
Honestly, yes. I have been
"What?
trying to grow my male aesthetics.
Really?"
Yes, and it's all the luxury realtors here that like kind of ask me, kind of not. They're like, "So, and I'm like, "You need to come in." So I'm literally gonna put on, when it's safer, a realtor, luxury realtor agent, like little like get together, so they know that the other guy goes, and that this is like a safe zone for everybody. If they have hair thinning, or if they want jawline redefinition, if they want to be on a good skincare regimen, it is okay.
Just don't
Make
call
it
me
normal.
middle-aged men.
Yeah, right.
But
Middle-aged men mingle mixer.
Finish the
Middle-aged
sentence.
men mixer.
She had barely finished the sentence. I was like, "Let's go inside. You're gonna shoot this up with as much
I would
neurotoxin as
never. I don't even say age. I say mature.
yeah.
Don't just call me immature, okay?"
I know, right? I'm like so excited when people ask me for my driver's license,
Oh,
when I get wine or beer or something. Yeah.
love that.
Let's talk about this. I'm going to skip the topic I was going to go into because I want to continue more on this topic because I like it. Because you talk about stigma with men in this industry, and this is a big thing for me because I have a lot of friends who I wouldn't say mock, but they take little digs every now and then at my profession, right? Working in this industry. But when that's in a group setting, but when they get me one on one,
Yep.
first thing they're asking is, what cream should I be putting on my face?
100%.
What procedure should I be starting? So my question to you is, how do we kill the stigma with men, and how do we allow men or show men that it's okay to go into your local dermatologist and start having the conversation?
Yeah, and I think it's just like platforms like this, like you talking about it, and any guy watching will be more okay with it, and them knowing that cosmetic procedures like Botox or filler or things like that are not going to feminize.
Right.
They're not going to feminize you. Fillers are placed differently. Not that they need filler, but if they want a little bit of like jawline redefinition or something like that, or a little bit of Botox because they have a little bit of lines. It's just looking the more like you're gonna look like yourself, and they need to understand you're gonna look like yourself, but it's a more refreshed you. You drank your water and you had 8 hours of sleep and you're feeling good. We are coming out with little fun things like bro talks
Yeah.
and things like that. But I think that making it look a little bit more normal, talking about it, things like hair loss, guys don't want to talk about it. A lot of guys are going through it. And so it's just talking about it.
Yeah. And I really want to emphasize that to our viewers out there. Like, it is okay to care about your appearance and want to do this. And you can still look rugged. You can still look rugged and look yourself while doing it, but you just look a fresher looking rugged when you get it done.
100%. I know that, who was it? One of the actors, he got a little too much done because they liked his rugged look. Oh my gosh, who was he? He was in that movie with Lady Gaga, and he was also in the wedding.
Matthew McConaughey. No, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah, so we like his rugged look, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's super sexy, it's super rugged, but I think for one of the award shows or something, I think he looked too perfect. And like, people didn't like that because they like his like super rugged look. But you can do both. You can definitely hit the median, you know, you can just do enough. But honestly, if people just wear sunscreen, if my male patients just wear sunscreen, that is step number one, you know, and finding honestly whatever sunscreen works for them. There's no perfect sunscreen, but that's like your first step, you know, and then we kind of go from there. And so that's like what I want to. Another thing is like my cosmetic consults with guys. For women, I kind of talk about everything in one, and they want everything in one. But my guys, I got to go like one step at a time, because a lot will kind of be a little bit overwhelming, and then they'll get overwhelmed. And so it's kind of just like one step at a time. But I think with social media, with us talking about it, with more men doing it and looking amazing like you guys do, things will normalize, you know, because guys got to look good, like CEOs or whoever, like even, you know, anyone really, they got to feel good about themselves, and cosmetics is just not for women. Like, I don't know where that came to be, you know.
Yeah, and one tip for all you wives out there who want to help your husband into it, just put the products on the counter table or in the shower, and just
that's what I do.
Politely explain what they do, and when you're not looking, your husband will start using it. Trust me.
We'll try it.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting towards the end of our interview, which means it's time for the quick fire questions. Now, here's the thing. We usually allow one pass, but I think your embarrassing story used up your one pass, right?
Oh, shoot.
Right? So you get no passes. I want you to answer to me the first thing that pops into your head. Try not putting too much thought into it. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. What's your favorite thing to treat or procedure to do in your clinic right now?
Like we said, non-surgical rhinoplasty. Love it.
What's your guilty food pleasure?
I love pasta. Oh my gosh.
Dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Oh, dark chocolate, but only because I think it's more healthy. So honestly, maybe milk.
Savory or sweet?
You know, I go back and forth, but I think I'm more of a sweet person. Sweet person.
Sour candies or ice cream?
Ooh, sour candies. And have you ever had Smart Sweets? They're like kind of like a healthier. I love. Anyway,
like 3 grams of sugar or something, the whole bag or something.
I know. Okay.
Yeah. Cheesecake or lemon meringue?
Cheesecake.
If you could be from any other decade or era, which would it be?
Oh, the 70s for sure. They had such a good life.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone all the way.
Any tattoos?
No, my husband has a few though.
Oh,
he's the cool one. I can't commit. This is like my type A. Like I went in, I've sat in the tattoo chair, like at the parlor, and I was like,
you know what? Percentage of risk
yeah, risk of it being permanent. Yeah, I want it on my foot, and you know, you can't really do that because I was like kind of committing and kind of not. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like something so much that I can just commit to it for the rest of my life, even though I can do tattoo removal. So whatever. It's a commitment thing.
Do you prefer texting or talking?
Oh my God, I'm the biggest texter, but I text I Siri text. So everyone knows me. They think I'm talking to them, and I'm actually texting while I'm using Siri, and they think I'm talking to them, but I'm not. And so, yeah. And I'm also that texter who does like 10 things at once, which I could have written like a paragraph.
I'm with you. You can either speak every language in the world or talk to animals.
Ooh, that's so tough. Can the animals talk back?
Yes.
I think I would do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your ultimate best friend would be Beyonce or Rihanna?
Honestly, Rihanna seems so badass. I know the more popular answer might be Beyonce, but Rihanna is like on
No,
next level too.
Pretty even, but I know you're an H-Town girl, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
White or whole wheat?
Again, I do whole wheat, but probably because it's more healthy, and white bread is probably it's so much more delicious.
You're so disciplined. I love it. French fries or potato chips?
Oh, French fries all the way, 100%.
Intimacy or pasta?
Oh, ooh.
He's got tattoos, babe. Go for the.
I know. Oh, for sure, intimacy.
You can work up the pasta later. Do you believe there is life in the universe other than Earth?
Yeah, the galaxy is so huge and crazy that 100%.
You're going to the fashion event of the year. Which designer is dressing you?
Ooh, I really like, I don't know. This one's really, really tough. I love edgy, but I also love, like underground. I mean, Versace's pretty cool though.
I could see you.
So that's what I would say.
Man. I think you'd be a
I
ball man.
like that. That's what I was gonna think about too. Yeah.
COVID restrictions lift off tomorrow, and you get to travel anywhere in the world. Where would you go? First place.
Japan. It's like already planned in my head.
Love it. And you get to have dinner with God and ask one question. What would you ask?
Ooh, deep. This one's deep. I'm like all about the afterlife, so that's like what we would chat about.
What comes next? I like
that.
God puts you in a difficult position and says, I will answer your question. But first you have to tell me, who would you take to the fashion event of the year with you, Nathan or George?
You guys. I would have to say both. Half and half. I would have to. Can't answer that.
All right. We'll let you get away with it. I want to say a massive thank you to being here and just for being such a great conversationalist. It was so much
good.
fun.
Of course.
I'm totally crushing on you. I'm going to tell you flat out. And I'm going to totally, I hope your husband has Instagram so I can stalk him too and talk to him about the new moon. And if he doesn't, I'll do it directly through you.
Exactly, for sure. This was so fun, guys. Thank you so much.
Nathan's going to ask you the final two questions of the night, and then we're going to go to a message from our sponsor, and you're going to hang out backstage so we can say proper good night. But again, for me, thank you for being here. You're absolutely awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been amazing. I'm going to thank you again when we talk to you backstage, but it's been an awesome conversation. But we're called Skinterviews by Nathan and George, so it wouldn't be fair if we didn't ask this question. What's your current skincare routine?
Oh my gosh. So I just have a segment on New York Live, and I call myself the lazy dermatologist. So I'm just all about the essentials. So because I have super sensitive skin, almost eczema skin. So gentle cleanser, vitamin C antioxidant in the morning, SPF sunscreen, and SPF moisturizer. I actually have those together. So it's like 3 things, technically 2 if the cleanser's out. At night, you got my gentle cleanser again. If I make bond, sometimes I double cleanse. And then my anti-aging, which is usually retinol. Bakuchiol is a good plant-based alternative. I do use an eye cream twice a day. The good ones you can use twice a day that are more like medical grade that don't have like retinol in them or that's sustained action. And that's about it. You know, every once in a while I will exfoliate. Every once in a while I'll use an HA. I will moisturize deeply if I want to, but it's not like my everyday thing. I do a lot of energy-based devices I love radio frequency with microneedling on my face. So that like keeps me in check as well. I also do, when I'm in the car, a little bit of powder SPF, because I got to reapply, and that's about it. But no neck cream or anything yet. Hopefully not yet.
Get on it. Preventative.
Yeah.
I know, right? I know. I should. I'm so lazy.
And then the last question of the night is, who would you like us to interview next on the show?
Ooh, okay. Because you guys have had some of the OGs of derm. Trying to think. So one of my girlfriends just opened a practice in Chicago,
Awesome.
Caroline Robinson, Tone Dermatology, and she is amazing skin of color dermatologist, and she has a direct care practice, so she takes no insurance. But she does amazing. So it'll be like a really nice change, especially for your viewers, for like darker skin tones, African American, Black skin, and what types of skin conditions she sees, and she's killing it in the field as well. So definitely recommend her.
Awesome.
Her practice is amazing.
We'll get her details off you backstage, but thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, hang out. We'll be right back to say goodnight. We've had some pretty incredible people on both season 1 and season 2 of Skinterviews, and it amazes me every time we come across a new guest that is just as incredible as a previous guest. Like they're just all amazing, and I love when I hear about these super duper wow power couples, like the one we just learned about tonight, which is Dr. Sheila and her husband. Now, I usually talk about something profound that our doctor says during an interview or a guest says during an interview, but I want to talk about something else here because we brought it up tonight about men and the services that we offer in the cosmetic and aesthetic and dermatology space. Now let's go over one basic thing that all the guys out there need to understand. And I don't even know how many of you are going to be watching the show, but if you are a wife, a sister, a mother, a girlfriend, a friend, anything, a cousin, reiterate some of this information. Number one, the skin is the largest living organ of the body. The same way you go to work out to take care of your muscles and your cardiac health, you should be doing things to take care of your skin health. You shouldn't be negotiating a bit. And it doesn't demasculate you. Like, honestly, grow a pair. How demasculating is it that we have to name things like Botox so you don't feel too feminine to get something that is going to keep you looking longer and maybe getting a little more action, or your wife keeping you in check and not looking over at the other guy that's getting some stuff done a little longer. Or husband, I should say. I should always be more politically correct considering I have a husband. But come on, like, get with it. It's 2020. We're half a breath away from 2021. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself so that you feel good about yourself. You feel refreshed. You look refreshed. And at the end of the day, it's not about looking better. It is about maintaining wellness and health in your skin. So I understand if Botox is not for you, but for God's sake, based on the science alone, get on a vitamin C serum, a vitamin A, which is a retinol, and get a good sunscreen. 3 things. My God, some people tell you not to even wash your face. We've gotten one of those on the show too. Dr. Scott Nicky with Beyond Soap, because of the microbiome of the skin. We talked about that today too. But if you just get those 3 basic things, and for Pete's sake, man, like Nathan said, go into the medicine cabinet, steal it from your wife. Sunscreen can be a little tricky if it's tinted, but you'll learn if you try. And honestly, grow a pair. Grow a pair. Take it from the guys at Skinterviews. Because if you don't take care of your skin, I'm going to find out, and I'll kick your butt. Have a wonderful night, day, evening, whatever time it is that you're watching or listening to our show on podcast, which is from Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. And thank you to Fullscript for sponsoring season 2. And doctors, really get on it. This is your chance to really make a difference in supplementation, health, and 360-degree approach to health and wellness for all your patients. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.